Alright, welcome to Right On with John Crane, and I also want to welcome you to the first episode that I'm doing in a series about the restoration of a 1959 AIRSTREAM safari trailer. Now this is a really cool project. I'm doing this project in collaboration with Blackmouth Design here on Bainbridge Island. But today, before I get into the restoration of the trailer, I've been working on it. It's up in the shop there, up in the top shop. Today, I want to take you on a journey through the history of AIRSTREAM. So join me today as we travel with AIRSTREAM back in time. All right, right on. The story of AIRSTREAM all begins with a fella by the name of Wally Byam. Now, Wally, born on the 4th of July, 1896 in Baker City, Oregon. Wally works as a shepherd until Wally is able to leave Baker City to attend Stanford. And while at Stanford, Wally gets a BA in history. And upon graduation, Wally moves to the Los Angeles area, where he there takes a job with the Los Angeles Times. Now, Wally wasn't quite satisfied working there at the Los Angeles Times, and he starts his own publication. And in this publication, he does these do-it-yourself articles, and one of them is how to build an AIRSTREAM trailer. Now, Wally's got the plans in here that you can buy direct from him for $5 for the blueprints and build your own trailer. Now, in the ad, Wally is suggesting that you can build this trailer for $150 in materials and $5 for his plans. That's pretty good to be able to get on the road for that cost, especially with the newly completed Route 66. Now, Route 66 is finished up on November 11th, 1926, and open to travelers from all over the country. Now, the U.S. highway system is spreading like wildfire, and people across the nation now are able to travel, and camping, hiking, fishing, all that is becoming a really big thing for American families. And what a better thing than to get on the road and to have a nice travel trailer for the family where you can go out and enjoy the company of each other and some nice spots in nature. Now, Wally, being the great businessman that he is, jumps in on this action and starts manufacturing what he calls the torpedo trailer, as shown here in this picture. And by 1932, Wally has over 1,000 of these trailers on the road. And at the same time in the country, aviation is huge. The Wright brothers are flying planes, people are building blimps, all kinds of things are happening with aviation. And a young man by the name of William Hawley Bowlus is very active in the sailplane community, and he is building these sailplanes on his family farm in the San Fernando Valley. Now, Hawley Bowlus was a very innovative guy and created all kinds of different sailplanes, and even got involved with Charles and Ann Lindbergh and taught them how to fly sailplanes. Charles, I think at one point, held the long-distance record in a sailplane. Now, Hawley Bowlus, being the great aviation innovator and technician that he was asked by Lindbergh to help build the aircraft, the Spirit of St. Louis. Now, this aircraft is the one that Charles Lindbergh famously used to cross the Atlantic, the first transatlantic flight in the Spirit of St. Louis. So you can see, Hawley Bowlus was one of the big wigs in aviation. And even with all that fame, working on the Spirit of St. Louis and the transatlantic flight, Hawley's true passion was for sailplanes. Ann Lindbergh would later write, after taking a ride in one of Hawley Bowlus's sailplanes, "Free as a gull, alone upon a single shaft of air, invisible there, where no man can touch, no shout can reach." All right, now why all this talk about Hawley Bowlus and sailplanes, and what does this have to do with AIRSTREAM trailers? Well, it has a lot to do with AIRSTREAM trailers. Now, it turns out that Hawley Bowlus needed a way to transport his sailplanes. So what does Hawley do? He builds himself an enclosed trailer that he can haul his sailplane with down the road, and it will also be inside the enclosed trailer, so this will protect the sailplane as they are traveling. Now, Hawley thought this was a great idea. This was an awesome trailer that he had, and he would often go on trips with his wife. Now, they would take the car and they would take the trailer with the sailplane and park it, but then they would set up a tent outside and camp in the tent. And now I think his wife got to a point where she was like, how come we're in this musty old tent when we could be inside a trailer? So what does Hawley Bowlus do? He designs the trailer so that he can haul both the sailplane inside and also camp out inside the trailer. He puts some beds in there, he puts a little kitchenette. Now this sparked an idea there for Hawley Bowlus, and in 1934, Hawley Bowlus goes into production building what he calls the Road Chief trailer. Now what a beautiful trailer this was, and I'm telling you, at this time, trailers were really a hot ticket item. People were traveling all over the country, and aviation was quite new. So when you looked at this trailer, boy, this looked high tech for the day, and still to this day, it looks amazing, right? It looks just like a fuselage for an airplane. It's polished, shiny aluminum. What an amazing trailer this is. So people are just fascinated with what Hawley Bowlus is doing. And someone else is also very fascinated with what Hawley Bowlus is doing, and that person is Wally Byam. And although Wally Byam was doing okay selling his torpedo trailer, he was always looking for ways to improve, and he really liked what Hawley Bowlus was doing with the Road Chief trailer. So Wally thought to himself, I think I can make a similar trailer, but to my own custom design, change some things around, and sell it probably for a lower price. Now you see, Hawley Bowlus was selling the Road Chief trailer at the time for $3,000. Now Hawley Bowlus was not a great businessman, and that's where Wally Byam comes in. Wally has got some great business sense, and he starts manufacturing what he calls the AIRSTREAM Clipper in 1936, and he's selling this trailer for $1,200 compared to Hawley Bowlus's Road Chief that he's selling for $3,000. Now, Hawley Bowlus's production of the Road Chief trailer only lasted from 1934 to 1936. Now you got to understand there was a lot of factors at hand. The Great Depression was in full swing in the country. And you got to think, at the same time that Hawley Bowlus was building these trailers and Wally Byam was building his, there was another 400 manufacturers of trailers at the time. This was a big boom for trailers. But the Great Depression hits, and not many of these companies make it through. And one of the only companies to make it through was Wally Byam and AIRSTREAM. Now this marks a huge turn of events for Wally Byam and AIRSTREAM, with the creation of this new Clipper trailer, and at the low cost that he's charging, $1,200 for this trailer. It's a revolution in the trailer industry, and these start to skyrocket and take off, and Wally Byam is just ecstatic with the progress that he has. Now, one of the major changes that Wally Byam does is he moves the door from the end of the trailer and he puts it onto the side. Now, this is a big change from the Hawley Bowlus design. With this change, among many others, it created great flexibility in creating different floor plans for the trailers. By the mid to late 1930s, the weight of the Great Depression is starting to lift, and Wally Byam goes into full production on his new Clipper trailer. Now Wally keeps in production his classic Silver Cloud trailer, but little to be known, a looming threat is on the horizon that will be devastating for all the world. In 1939, World War II had begun, a horrific war that had swept the globe. Whatever boost the economy had seen after climbing out of the hole from the Great Depression was quickly swept away with the start of World War II. Supplies were being rationed. All kinds of materials were needed for the war to build machinery for the troops. Rubber of all kinds was being recycled. The government was even asking for old water bottles from your closet. Gasoline was being rationed. You had to have a gasoline card that allowed you a certain amount of gasoline per week. Even your old bacon fat was being asked for to help in the making of ammunition. And of course, aluminum, brass, and steel were also needed for the war, and this closes the doors of many factories, including the factory of Wally Byam's AIRSTREAM. So from 1939 to 1947, Wally closes AIRSTREAM and goes to work for Lockheed Aircraft. And here is where Wally Byam will acquire the skill set that turns his AIRSTREAMs into the quality product that they are today. After the war, it's full steam ahead for Wally Byam and AIRSTREAM. He goes into full production at his factory in Culver City, California. AIRSTREAM at this time is growing rapidly, and Wally is offering a whole array of designs and floor plans. One of the great things about AIRSTREAM trailers is they were able to be highly customized. You could choose a floor plan that suited your needs. One safari trailer might not look like another safari trailer, depending on the specifications of the owner. In 1952, Wally would open a new manufacturing facility in Jackson Center, Ohio. This is where the new Argosy line would eventually be built. The Argosy trailers would be a new line of painted AIRSTREAMs. And in 1978, the factory in Culver City, California would close, and full production would come out of Ohio. The company would soon go back to its highly desired unpainted exterior, which are still made till this day. On July 22nd, 1962, Wally Byam would pass from complications of a brain tumor, but not without leaving behind an incredible legacy, not just as a great businessman and pioneer of industry, but as a person who loved to travel the world abroad, meeting with people of all walks of life. Wally would lead caravans of AIRSTREAMs around the globe, from South America to the pyramids in Egypt to all across Europe. Wally was a true pioneer, not only spreading the AIRSTREAM name, but also spreading goodwill. right, wasn't that a fascinating journey? What a history with Airstream. We got Wally Byam, we got Hawley Bowlus, we got Charles Lindbergh. What amazing names those guys have too. All right, so what we have is operators standing by to take your call. On the $200 pledge level, we have a scrap piece of Airstream aluminum that we will sign your name on. At the $100 level, we have a bag of rivets. All right, now I'm just flowing with you guys. All right, I hope you guys are great. And join me in the next episode where I start the restoration of the 1959 Safari Airstream trailer. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Right on.